Good morning, I'm Gerhard Mathangani with today's Sports Brief. The Alabama women's basketball team's run in the NCAA tournament has ended. The 7th-seeded Tide ran across a buzzsaw against number 2 Maryland in the second round in San Antonio. The Terrapins jumped out to a 30-9 lead in the first quarter and never looked back, winning the game 100-64. The Tide were led by Jasmine Walker, who scored 23 points. Bama shot 42% from the floor, but Maryland countered, shooting a red-hot 61% and dominated the boards. The Tide season comes to an end with a 17-10 record. Despite the loss, there's still a lot to take pride in this year.
Congrats to a great Maryland team. They're just really hard to guard. They're so good offensively, and we just didn't have an answer. But I do want to say, how proud I am of our team, and what this group has done is unbelievable. And I don't want this one day to take away from the entire journey that they've been on all season to get our program back to where it deserves to be, and that's consistently in the NCAA tournament. So just told them I loved them. I'm really proud of them. And we'll continue to just roll up our sleeves and go back to work.
Meanwhile, the Alabama football team is in the middle of spring practice. The Tide will have a lot of holes to fill from its national championship squad, but several players making the leap to the NFL means spots are up for grabs this spring. Head coach Nick Saban says it is all about doing the little things right.
I think that the progression has been good with the players. I think the challenge remains what I talked about before after the first practice is, people taking individual responsibility to be accountable. But then that was the message after the first day. All right, but then the challenge is how do you sustain that? How do you do that day in and day out? How do you do that when you start to get tired and sore? How do you do that when things get more difficult? There's a lot more assignments, a lot more things to think about, a lot more adjustments to be made, so that you really have to stay focused and stay zeroed in on giving effort, playing with good intangibles, being disciplined, doing your job. Everybody being responsible for and accountable individually to do what they're supposed to do to make this team what this team is able to be.
The Tide will hold its 8A game on April 17th at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And that wraps up your Sports Brief. Our program continues next.